Comic industry insiders love to post weird little statistics that make their sales look a lot bigger than they actually are in order to try to justify what they're doing. Mags Visaggio, of course, is going out there bragging, claiming that this Rebel Moon comic is selling a ton. Now, he is known for, of course, pushing the trans agenda and all that in comics. Now, I actually got Rebel Moon #1. I'm going to be reviewing it on my comic review channel. Which is the links in the description below. It's called JDA Talks Comics. So make sure not to miss that. I have the book here. You're welcome. I'm your customer, Brian. So I hope you appreciate the coverage. But I don't know that it's actually a sales success. We don't actually have sales numbers for comics anymore unless the company gives them out. Now, with the gay Green Lantern thing that Tim Sheridan was doing, and with, of course, the Superman gayness that, Tom Taylor was doing, they went out there and they were posting like, look, our Amazon Kindle sales rank is number 2,000 in all of Amazon. Well, if you know Amazon very well, that translates to like 30, 40 sales. It's not something that's like a big sales number. And they do that to obfuscate from the fact that these books are not selling. Now, I will give Mags a little bit of credit. So I know you watch my channel, Mags. You didn't trans this property. You didn't make this thing woke. So congratulations on that, because I'll spoil a little of the review on that. At least there's that. But I don't know that this is actually a sales success. We're going to have to see what happens once it gets into issue 3, issue 4, whether this Rebel Moon comic is actually tracking or not. Now, let's get into what our actually sales success is, because there's some pretty interesting stuff hitting the news right now as well. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, everybody. And of course, please get on my subscribe star down below. We are reporting the news. We are the most trusted name in comics news here, because we're the only place that really tells you the truth on everything. So if you want to support my journalism, really subscribe there, become a YouTube channel member, grab my books. I make a lot of comics myself. Those links are in the description below as well. And I really appreciate you guys who are actual readers, because of course you've been keeping us going over the last several years. And as we grow, we've been growing crazy. It just gets better as things go along. So thanks so much for supporting the fiction. So I saw this news today. Thundercats #1 gets 170,000 orders as Rob Liefeld cover drops. So Rob Liefeld is a big name. Rob Liefeld drives sales. His comics actually do big numbers. This is a huge number for comic book sales if you don't know. And so Thundercats is a property you might not expect to do that much. Of course, it's a nostalgia thing, and there's going to be some speculation on this first issue. But with Rob Liefeld doing the cover, of course, a lot of people went in on it because look at that. It looks awesome. Makes it look really cool. And so that's going to get it there. Now, I don't think that the interiors, like they've got Declan Shavy on the writing, I don't know that that's moving the needle because, of course, he's not really much of a big name. I really think it is the Rob Liefeld cover here and the Thundercats name that are moving it. Now, Mags has something going for him. For the Rebel Moon comic, there's been a ton of media circus around Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon. So people are seeing Rebel Moon. If they see it in comic shops, they might pick it up. So there might have been a pretty good order size for issue #1 from comic shops before this came out. Doesn't mean the book's popular. And pretty good order size could just be 20,000 for a company like Diamond or for like Titan Comics. We don't know. None of those have been released so far. But when you see the actual numbers getting released, like Dynamite actually is bragging about the numbers here, you know one thing. Now, one thing that hasn't happened here is Titan Comics has not bragged about the numbers being sold. With their Conan #1, they said that the first print exceeded 80,000 copies sold, and they expect the debut issue is going to have 100,000 copies. That's bragging about the numbers. Now, when somebody's not actually wanting to tell you the numbers, but they're wanting it to look like a success, this is what happens. Now, Magus is reposting this saying that it's a great sale and all that. It has sold out and gone to a second printing. Now, this is a common comic book marketing tactic that you see in the industry. This does not mean that there's a lot of sales. If the first printing only had 1,000 copies, well, these are print to order pretty much. They don't like sit on a bunch of stock. So they will, of course, get orders from their LCS. They'll print to about that much. So it could be 1,000 copies, could be 20,000 copies, might be 100,000 copies. If it's 100,000, they should probably be saying it. But they don't have anything left over that goes out to comic shops. Now, if comic shops want more, they'll run a second printing, and that number will be a lot smaller than the first. If you looked at that Conan, for example, if they had 80,000 copies, for example, they're printing 20 of the second, anticipating like a quarter of the sales of the first, right? And so that's typically what happens here. You don't not report numbers if you think that something's like such a huge success on that level. These numbers are not out there. So maybe Mags will release the actual numbers of what was sold here. That'd be interesting to see. And it'd be very interesting to see what the drop-off's going to be for number 2 after people actually see this. And of course, since they've already pre-ordered number 2 in comic shops, number 3 is really where we're going to see what readers think of this based on the sales of number 1 and 2 from the comic shops. Let's check things out and see how things go. But this is one of the tactics they use. It's just a marketing ploy. It doesn't mean there's a lot of sales whatsoever. Mags is, of course, begging for money on Cash App regularly, which means there's not much royalties coming in from this at the very least. So that's interesting to note too. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.